A warm round of applause. And as Geoffrey walks up, apparently I'm told, since this is an entertainment event, he also goes by the moniker Jazzy Jeff. So as Jazzy Jeff comes...
Give it up for Jazzy Jeff! All right, Jazzy Jeff on the mic. Take it up from here.
So she's taken me back to my days, huh? Our chief guest, Cabinet Secretary, Sports Culture, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, the Chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Kiprono Kitoni, our Vice Chairman, Mr. Bob Karina, our directors. We have a director today, Isis Nyongo, who is also a very good friend of HOMEBOYZ. The chairman of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC, Mr. Humphrey Watanga. The chief executive, HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC, and a good friend of mine, Mr. Mike Rabar. The transaction advisor, head of the transaction advisory team, Mr. Charles Omanga. Directors and staff of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC, NSE, CMA, members of the Fourth Estate, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning again. I think first and foremost is to say that this has been a long time coming, and I think we really, HOMEBOYZ deserves a great applause. Let's give them a hand. I think speaking, right, now I can see you all. I think speaking a bit informally before I start my speech, I think Mike and I share a history way back in beyond 92. Mike was my junior in school, and when he set up HOMEBOYZ, I thought it was a joke, because those days our parents were very strict about going to school and studying and taking this formal way of a career. But he stuck to this course, and I remember that homie, when he set it up, that was what was beating at that time. And today to see Mike here coming to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, for me, is a great testimony of resilience and having and dreaming and really validation of his dream to really make this company a great thing. So Mike, and you've done a great job, and I'm very, very proud of you personally as a friend. Thank you. So on behalf of the board and management of Nairobi Securities PLC, I take this opportunity to humbly welcome you to this listing ceremony of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC. Today is a momentous day as HOMEBOYZ PLC lists 63.2 million shares and becoming the first entertainment company to list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. This listing is a promising development in our country. It gives credence to the commitment that we have towards supporting companies explore the NSE as a venue of raising capital, as well as our investors also who undertake to look for opportunities to create wealth. I'm strongly convinced that HOMEBOYZ Entertainment listing will be critical in supporting our young people's entry to the capital markets. We were just speaking with Mike, and I was telling him how this has been an agenda for us for many years. But our youth resonate very well with HOMEBOYZ. When we did a bit of a survey the other day, when we were trying to see what companies would the youth invest in, and these sort of companies is what they responded to. And we're very happy that you've done that. It will inspire and encourage confidence in the capital markets, especially among the young demographic. Many young people are familiar with the brand and really resonate with what you do. So I think it's really coming on at the right time. We're equally delighted that this listing is coming at the end of this year, and Mike has stood the ground, and coming at the end of this COVID year, which has been a pretty tough year, I think just makes an attestament to the confidence that he has in the capital markets and what most investors equally should do. I'm equally delighted to inform you that HOMEBOYZ is graduating from the NSE Ibuka program, a program we set up for companies to come and really validate or really build and strengthen various aspects of their business. It's a clear testament that our program has the ability to support and develop a good pipeline of companies to access the capital markets and begin their equity journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to note that HOMEBOYZ PLC is listing on Africa's premium market for both local and corporate clients who look to invest in this kind of markets. We are one of the leading frontier markets globally, and so you're really joining into a platform that is highly recognized. The company's continued growth and expansion, supported by the capital markets, is a fine example of the abundant opportunities available in our market. Guided by our mission to link capital to opportunities, we have made investments to ensure that issuers enjoy the best-in-class infrastructure to support their capital raising needs. Our investments have positioned NSE as a leading market for investors looking to gain access to Africa and Kenya, and enjoy Kenya's economic growth. Through continuous product innovations, the exchange continues to promote financial inclusion, boost liquidity, and reduce the risk for investors. So as I conclude, because I believe you'll get to hear more from our chairman, I want to first of all say that what HOMEBOYZ has done is to inspire companies to come to the market, especially the highly innovative companies, and also demonstrates that the NSE has the platforms that will enable you move to the next level. So on behalf of the Board of Management of HOMEBOYZ, Board of Management of the NSE, I'd like to congratulate HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC and Michael for all that he's done today and for really setting the stage. And when we walked in here, I was telling Mike that we've not seen a listing venue like this. And he's set up very high standards for us. I don't know how the next listing will look like. We can only wish that he'll be part of it. So as a market, we remain committed to help HOMEBOYZ continue in this journey. And I believe this will be a first of many. You'll continuously come back to the market for other events and also to celebrate other milestones. So thank you once again, Mike, and thank you, HOMEBOYZ. Thank you, everybody, for making it here on this great Monday holiday week. And we wish you all, and I personally wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a really good start to the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was Jazzy Jeff. You might want to shake a leg as you go out, but no pressure, no pressure. It's okay, Mr. Jazzy Jeff. All right, we shall call you back for that. Give it up again for Jazzy Jeff. That is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Geoffrey Odundo. A couple of things coming out of that conversation. First and foremost, that HOMEBOYZ Entertainment has set the bar up there. Who else can be able to match, I wonder? But the second thing we've also had is that HOMEBOYZ actually got here by going through the Ibuka program, a program that seeks to be able to work with SMEs in this country to get them to the point of capital raising by strengthening their corporate governance as well as their internal structures. Another thing that I hear is that it's actually open to anybody. So if you are an SME in Kenya, I think it's a time that we started seeing not only HOMEBOYZ, but how about we saw perhaps even 50 or so over the next 5 years. Now, without further ado, let me introduce our next guest, Mr. Charles Omanga, who is the Managing Principal for Horizon Africa. Mr. Omanga, please come onto the stage. And as he comes, you know, it's entertainment and we have to find out fun facts. Jeff, what do you know about Mr. Omanga?
Well, other than his love for 90s hip-hop, which we just learned very recently, we might get the DJ to play his request, but also because, I mean, Kenyans' side hustles, as we say on social media, same was up. In the UK, trying to earn a living, getting his master's, he worked as a security guard back then, doing his thing, and it's funny that now he's busy listing securities on the exchange. How's that for a journey? Round of applause for Mr. Omanga.
Give it up.
Thank you very much. The CS Sports and Culture Ambassador Amina Mohammed, the Chairman of the Nairobi Stock Exchange, the Vice Chairman of the Nairobi Stock Exchange, Board of Directors of the Nairobi Stock Exchange, CEO of the NSE, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, Mike, congratulations. Who would know that a DJ would list more than his LPs and his albums? Well done. When Mike called me to his office 18 months ago now, and I went through his interview of why he should trust our firm with bringing him to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, I didn't want to tell him, but I felt a much bigger presence of a businessman and an entrepreneur that was larger than life at that point in time. I felt as though the story that he was building truly deserved to come to this market, and I'm really, really proud that you trusted us and happy that we're here today and that in some time in the future you will be sharing your company with the public and the people of Kenya. The financial story of HOMEBOYZ cannot be told without looking at this business pre-COVID, during COVID, and of course what is to come. What Mike, his directors, and his family have managed to build up until this point when he's going public is an extremely strong enterprise that has grown significantly over the years, and over the last 5 years up to 2019 had accumulated average growth rate of in excess of 8.5%. If you want to understand what was driving that growth into turnovers of the hundreds of millions, you have to think back to what essentially he was doing as an entertainment company. Organizing the entertainment around the First Lady Marathon, the Stanchart Marathon, Telkom Kenya relaunch, the KICC World Cup Festival, New Coins relaunch by the Central Bank of Kenya, Koroga Festival, amongst many others. When we got into 2020, and in March, when we were promising the NSE and the NSE management that we were coming and COVID hit us, we asked ourselves whether indeed we were going to go through the journey as we have now. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I never felt that Mike wouldn't go through it. We questioned, we tested theories and numbers, but he was always encouraging us to ensure that we kept the dialogue going with the NSE at various points in time. So his business has suffered, of course, as a result of COVID, and this year had a drop in revenue, as you would imagine, but I don't believe that that's synonymous with HOMEBOYZ. I believe that that has happened to every business. What we've done in bringing this business to the stock exchange is factored into that listing price that you have today a significant discount, not only for companies that are associated with this business, but also an additional discount for COVID, which is around about where the NSE index is trading and has factored in other companies in the market. So ladies and gentlemen, what can you expect? HOMEBOYZ has moved and transformed its business significantly and has now more contracted revenue and stable income than it had in the past. So you will find a business starting our new year contracting for over 60% of its total revenue, something that did not happen before. And Mike, congratulations, in a year of COVID, that is no mean feat. Some of the things that, some of the events that you can look forward to HOMEBOYZ managing are the World Rallycross Safari Rally, where he has secured a 3-year contract, the Magical Kenya Open, the Kenya Rugby League, the Football Kenya Federation, the Esports Kenya Federation. In addition to that, there are numerous clients in the public and development sectors, and as well as on the e-commerce front. In a year when most companies shed and actually reduced staff and became lean, HOMEBOYZ was also unaffected, was also affected. So we hope that with this listing, you will be able to grow back to the size that you were, even though we know that those actions were necessary. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to mention that within the listing statement that you will receive after today's event, you will see a company that is poised for growth. The projections are telling us that there will be in excess of roughly 12% cumulated average growth, an EBITDA margin to hit 30% by 2022, and hopefully resulting in a very profitable company as we get out of this COVID period. I'd like to end my short speech there, but really just to say, on behalf of the transaction partners, MMC Asafo, who guided us on the legal side, the Nomad and sponsoring broker, AIB Axis, the company secretary, DNM Management Associates, and the reporting accountant, Matengo Associates, thank you very much for the resilience, hard work, and sleepless nights. I'd like to thank the gentlemen in our team who took a lot of pain in seeing this through. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very proud of today's feat, and I hope you'll join me in celebrating Mike and Homeboys in the gem segment of the market. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Mr. Omanga, please. And I don't know if it came across as he gave his speech right there, but he's not a man of emotion. When it comes to Charles, he's really P&L, balance sheet, that's the language he speaks. And when we're here, there's another story, and there's a story of how a DJ has the, as they say, audacity to dream and take it from, an outfit catering to weddings, build it into an entertainment company, and then from there, think, okay, fine, this is not enough. We can actually list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and that's a story that we're celebrating right here. Of course, for those joining this particular event virtually, don't forget the hashtag Tumiliki, and once again, hashtag Homeboys Karibu NSE. That's what we're talking about right here as we talk about this particular journey. And for me personally, I kind of have the feels, when you talk about this particular space that we are in this particular company, because that man right there, CEO Mike Rabah, took a chance on me when I was still in campus, second year in Lukenya, Daystar University, and I don't know what he saw in me, because in full disclosure,
yes,
I'd just been fired 2 weeks before.
No way.
In a student-run radio station.
That explains a lot, Jack.
I don't know, but I'm just thinking about the fact that he took a risk, and I'm guessing that risk paid off, and here we are again. Thank you so much, Mike Rabah. And that story is replicated across so many people you talk to, from DJs to artists, the fact that he sees something and is never afraid to take the risk and put his money and his strength financially and otherwise where his mouth is, and push the youth to the next platform. Asante sana for that. And let's keep this program moving to our next speaker.
All right.
Our next speaker, the chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Please welcome Mr. Kiprono Kitoni. As Kiprono comes on stage, what do we know about Mr. Kitoni Mbithe?
Well, he was part of the entertainment industry when he started out back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. He was selling videos in Kitale.
Okay.
Yes, he must tell us how he moved from there, because it seems that everybody who's coming on this stage started from the bottom, now we're here.
Now they're here. Over to you, Mr. Kitoni.
Honorable Amina Mohammed, Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Mike Rabah, CEO HOMEBOYZ Entertainment, Mr. Wycliffe Shamia, CEO Capital Markets Authority, Jeff Odundo, CEO of the NSE, Vice Chairman Bob Karina, and Directors, Charles Omanga, Managing Director, Horizon Africa, Directors and staff of HOMEBOYZ Africa, Directors and staff of the NSE present, members of the Fourth Estate, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, this is such a moving moment for me, for many reasons, but I'll just say it in a few minutes. This year, in January, we ushered in the new year, as usual, on January 1st. And it looked like any other year. It looked like it would be business as usual. But little did we know that something had happened in a city in China called Wuhan that would adversely affect literally everything that we do this year. We never imagined that we would spend so many days at home, under lockdown. We never imagined that the COVID-19 pandemic would test the limits of our human existence as it has this year. But I think we have a lot to celebrate if we have made it thus far. I mean, if we are here today in December, normally at this time of the year, I would have resumed my herdsmanship duties somewhere in Rift Valley. But when I heard that Mike Rabah will be listing, I think I had to do the right thing and come back to Nairobi and join you, homeboys, and the rest of you at this very auspicious celebration. But before I start my formal remarks, I also want to especially recognize CS Amina Mohammed, because a few years ago, in my previous capacity as the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, I had the privilege of working with her as we marketed Kenya globally. She was a steward and really spearheaded the economic diplomacy activities of this government. And I think she's really one of the foremost leaders of our time. And I mean, Amina is a very humble person, CS, and she doesn't really pat herself on the back. But I want to really especially recognize you for all the great things you've done for our country. I'd also like to very specially congratulate Mike Rabah. And his journey is a journey that I relate to. I myself have been in the business of setting up businesses. But I think Mike and his team have really taken that leap of faith to bring this company to the market. And it is something that we really must support. We must create an aspirational economy where people want to build enterprise and democratize the ownership of those enterprises by bringing it to the market. And I think it really speaks to the narrative of positioning Nairobi, Kenya, as the financial hub for the East and Central African region. So kudos, Michael, and congratulations for this very great achievement. So on behalf of the Board of Directors of the NSE, I wish to welcome all of you to this auspicious occasion where we mark the listing of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC on the growth and enterprise market segment of the NSE. Madam CS, we are honored by your presence. Indeed, you have supported private sector in many of your previous roles, and we are extremely appreciative that you could take time off your busy schedule to be with us this morning. Today's listing is very special. It is a testament that with a clear vision, courage, and determination, the youth in Kenya can achieve anything. From its humble beginnings as a DJ outfit located in Nairobi's industrial area, and I visited their facility many times, in the year 1995, HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC is listing as one of the world's most attractive frontier capital markets. Today, HOMEBOYZ is joining a leading group of companies in the NSE which become regional enterprises in their various sectors such as banking and telecommunications. I'm particularly proud of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment for achieving this great milestone. HOMEBOYZ is offering Kenyans, and especially the youth, an opportunity to participate in the growth and success of their company once they're able to purchase shares and own a part of this great company. Ladies and gentlemen, HOMEBOYZ listing on the NSE will not only showcase it as a leading player in the media and entertainment industry, but it will also play a significant role in propelling the company into its next phase of growth. The NSE will offer HOMEBOYZ Entertainment access to a deep pool of retail and institutional investors, enabling the company to mobilize domestic and international capital to spur its growth and development. Equally, today's listing will enhance HOMEBOYZ's visibility across a wide range of stakeholders, locally and internationally. It will also enhance its corporate governance through compliance with our listing and continuous listing obligations. Ladies and gentlemen, as a market, we have continuously demonstrated an unwavering support to the growth of small and medium enterprises. At the core of this commitment is the recognition of the crucial role SMEs play in promoting inclusive and sustainable economic growth, providing employment, fostering innovation, and reducing income inequalities. In keeping with this, and in appreciation of the role of SMEs play in Africa's transformation and growth, the NSE is keen to nurture SMEs in Kenya and strengthen their contribution in economic development by fostering access to capital, creating opportunities to scale up and accelerate innovation. To support our effective implementation of this endeavor, we have the Growth and Enterprise Market segment aimed to supporting medium-sized enterprises raise substantial initial and ongoing capital while benefiting from increased profile and liquidity within a regulatory environment designed specifically to meet their needs. I'm happy to note that HOMEBOYZ is listing on this market, which means, by extension, that they have met all the criteria. Similarly, we've also launched Ibuka, an incubation and acceleration program aimed at preparing companies to list or access capital options offered in the market. HOMEBOYZ Entertainment is also an alumnus of this great program. This listing signifies the importance of the Ibuka program in preparing companies to list in our market segments. Today's listing comes on the back of the NSE's SME Forum hosted last week, where we restated our commitment to supporting SMEs. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to reiterate that today's listing marks a new and more elaborate path for the company, and from today, the business is now exposed to more analysis by various stakeholders, including investors, analysts, media, and regulators. I challenge the board and management of the company to inculcate international best practices in their corporate governance and leadership of the business going forward. Now more than ever before, stakeholders will be extremely keen, Mike, on the business as they seek to enhance their own shareholder value. I'm excited and wish to speak today, would like to speak more today about this listing. However, in the interest of time, I wish to conclude my remarks by appreciating the team behind this milestone. Firstly, I express my deepest gratitude to the board and management of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC for their commitment in actualizing this listing. I particularly recognize the unwavering commitment and great leadership of Mike Rabah, the CEO, in this process. Additionally, I wish to recognize the efforts and work done by all professional parties in this transaction: AIB, Axis Africa, who are the nominated advisors, Horizon Africa Capital, transactions advisors, MMC, ASAFO, the legal advisory team, as well as C&R Group, who are the registrars in this transaction. I'd also like to recognize the NSE team led by our very able CEO, Jeff Odundo. And in conclusion, I would like to reiterate the NSE's commitment to supporting the growth of the media and entertainment sector by promoting efficient capital formation and allocation, enabling industries raise long-term funds for growth and expansion of their businesses. My goal to make listing in the NSE a viable option to all key media and entertainment companies, including Radio Africa in Kenya, is emphasized in my conclusion. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and let's do everything we can to stay safe from COVID-19. Thank you very much.
That was the chairman of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Kiprono Kitoni. Let's give it up for him once again. You know, when you start hearing Merry Christmas and it's entertainment, we might test your vocals. So just take some water. If you're joining us from home, take a little bit of water. You never know what's coming up next. Tunaweza tukawaita mtuimbe, au sio?
I'm telling you, and the funny thing is, anyone who's coming on stage is impressed with the journey that Mike has taken to this particular space and the possibilities that he's opened up to everyone who's probably thinking they could, they might, because just getting into that particular space and talking to Mike about it even, you know, going from the Ibuka program and being listed onto GEMS is quite a feat. Takes a lot of resilience, takes a lot of learning as well, and really pushing yourself outside of the comfort zone, and that's something he's done. And for every DJ out there who's watching and wondering, where do I take my craft from here? Well, it can go from the bedroom all the way to the NSE. And it's interesting we talk about that because a couple of weeks back, I actually got the chance to see where this actually began, in South B, down to the bedroom where he was keeping his speakers.
Oh, wow.
So when you see it from that particular point of view, I think it was Golden Gate Estate, if I'm not wrong, from there, yes? All the way from there.
25 years
up
back.
until here.
Up until here.
I mean, again, what a journey it is, and that's just showing how possible it is for anybody to take their dream and push it all the way to the top. If you join the conversation once again, virtually, or in the room as well, and you're on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, #Tumiliki, and also #HOMEBOYZ Karibu NSE.
Do you know what I'm hearing from this conversation is when we are in this country, we're always talking about how do you monetize your craft? And we hear the word of resilience. We also hear visionary when it comes to Mike, who's the chief executive of HOMEBOYZ. But also what that tells me is that the NSE, the capital markets, they are opening up to be able to embrace companies. I did hear the chairman, Mr. Kiprono Kitoni, say that being part of this particular process, it gives you visibility, it enhances your corporate governance, and it just sort of ushers you into the main market, which is so important because we have numerous SMEs. There are about 7 million, both that are formal and informal.
Right.
7 million SMEs in this country. They are employing over 80% of the labor force of the economy. There's absolutely no reason why we don't have them as part and parcel of the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
And I think it's a good thing Mike doing this because it shows that from the Ibuka program, him being the first from there to the GEMS market, that it is possible and it can be done. Also the first entertainment company listing on the Securities and Exchange.
Yote yawezekana.
And when you talk about journeys as well, I'll speak for myself. It's been quite a journey also understanding the intricacies of the Security Exchange and how it works, some of the terms that we're using right there, because for those of us who are joining us there virtually and in the room, when you talk about HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC listing by introduction on the GEMS market, some people were confusing that when the word went round that this is an IPO and that's what's happening right there. And for those who probably need that debunked, I was squarely in that particular bracket as well. So when you talk about a listing by introduction, it's a company taking its existing shares and listing those onto this exchange at that particular point in time. So no additional shares are going to be issued, no additional funds are going to be raised in this particular point in time. So that's a big difference as we look at that, what we're celebrating now, and an IPO as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that overview. So yes, certainly a listing by introduction, but also what it does mean is that the company will not be raising capital at this point in time. It will be getting into the growth and enterprise market segment. The 63 million shares will come in at a price of 4.6, which means that they will be available, but no, they will not be trading as yet. And I think the other thing that we needed to clarify is HOMEBOYZ Radio the same as HOMEBOYZ Entertainment? Is it? No, it's not. This is HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC that is coming into the growth and enterprise market segment through the Ibuka program, the accelerator program. Ibuka has two programs. There is the accelerator element, there is the incubator element. The accelerator element allows you to consider capital raising as you use the platform of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And I think it's also a timely element in terms of SMEs, in terms of businesses that are thinking about their medium-term growth and how they can also expand the visibility as well as the number of shareholders that they can actually have on board, and also unlock value and understand, is there value for the business that I am doing?
We also have the incubator component of the Ibuka program when you look at it, because every business at times, when you look inward, you realize there's some structures missing, operational-wise, financing-wise, and they make sure they really panel beat your entity to make sure it is essentially market-ready.
Fantastic. Najua tumeongea kizungu nyingi, lakini yani tunasema kama hauko hapa, you're missing out. You just need to join this story. But we are very, very excited. So another round of applause for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us online, our hashtag is #Tumiliki, #HOMEBOYZ Karibu NSE. You know, I feel like shouting, but no, we're a bit formal. So just know I'm shouting in my heart. I'm like, yes, very excited. Okay. Now let's have our next speaker.
Absolutely.
Our next speaker is the Chief Executive Officer of the Capital Markets Authority, Mr. Wycliffe Shamir. What do we know about Mr. Wycliffe Shamir?
Well, we do know he's a man who always likes putting all the cards on the table in any discussion, loves openness, is an open book, but also he has a very nice strategy in order to disarm you.
Yes.
He'll always call you my brother or my sister. Whether it's a tough negotiation, whether it's heat coming your way, you're his brother or his sister. So let's welcome our brother, Mr. Shamir.
Our brother, Mr. Shamir.
our chief case, Ambassador Amina Mohamed, NSE Chairman, Mr. Kiprono Kitoni, CASIP Chairman, Mr. Paul Mwai, HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC Chairman, Mr. Humphrey Watanga, NSE CEO, Mr. Geoffrey Odundo, HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC Founder and CEO, Mr. Mike Raba, CEOs and representatives, directors from capital markets industry stakeholders, CMA, NSE, CDSC staff, transaction advisors for the state, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good morning. I'm delighted to join you in this auspicious occasion of listing by introduction of 63.2 million ordinary shares of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC on the growth enterprise market segment of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. This indeed is a welcome move, an icing to the cake to what has clearly been a very busy month of December and an eventful year overall in Kenya's capital markets calendar. As a highlight, let me just go through some of the issues that we've done over this year. There are key milestones in product uptake during this year, which underscore our strategic priority shift as the authority towards market deepening, including most recently the approval of the Argonne Student Accommodation Development Real Estate Investment Trust and Income Real Estate Investment Trust, respectively, for a total minimum subscription of 8.5 billion. Further, the authority facilitated the resumption of the corporate debt issuance by granting an approval to Sendam Real Estate Limited to issue a medium-term notes of 4 billion with a green shoe of 2 billion. On the regulatory sandbox front, the year saw the admission of the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation, CDSC, to the sandbox to test its proposed screen-based securities lending and borrowing SLB platform, with Pinebill Group Limited and Barium Kenya Limited getting admitted into the sandbox to test their innovations. The year further saw the exit of Bezesha Limited from the sandbox, with the authority granting the company an approval to operate its debt-based crowdfunding platform in the Kenyan capital markets after a successful one-year testing period. Ladies and gentlemen, there are several other products and services that the authority has facilitated, which reveals a silver lining within the dark cloud of COVID-19 within the domestic capital markets. This includes the very innovative Uhuru Sovereign Trust Fund, comprising the Boda Boda Unit Trust Fund that targets tech-enabled savings and investment platforms by the low-income earners with a more sustainable solution. Having said this, I wish to remind us that we are not out of the woods yet, as COVID-19 pandemic continues to ravage most of the country's economic sectors, and especially micro, small, and medium enterprises. As a regulator, we continue to monitor the situation as it unfolds and are dynamically responding by putting in place mitigating measures to contain its adverse impact on our key stakeholders. To this end, during the year, we as an industry supported national efforts to address adverse effects of the pandemic by donating Kenya shillings 30 million to the COVID Emergency Response Fund. Further, to specifically caution the industry, we issued guidelines to issuers of the securities to the public for hosting virtual general meetings in line with the High Court ruling, the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic, and the government directive on containing the rapid spread of the disease. Very importantly, we called out to Kenyans retail investors and domestic investors to take advantage of the heavy discounted securities prices to invest long-term, as well as to try out less riskier products available on NSE. I'm glad that Kenyans did not disappoint, and by heeding to this clarion call, the secondary market remained resilient with unprecedented activity in REITs, ETFs, and the derivatives counters. Coming to today's event, my chairman spoke last week at the Premier Capital Markets SME Virtual Conference, where he emphasized the role of capital markets in long-term financing for SMEs. During that event, potential issuers in the SME sector were taken through very moving testimonials by SMEs that had experienced firsthand the benefit of listing. I'm glad that very soon after this, we are witnessing a revitalization of listing on the cross-enterprise market segment GEMS through HOMEBOYZ as a first mover. Noting the benefits of listing that they have outlined on their listing statement, I'm sure that they have opened the gate for many firms that have previously been undecided. For this reason, I really want to commend the board, management, and staff of HOMEBOYZ Entertainment for this very bold and smart move. By listing on this segment, therefore, HOMEBOYZ Entertainment PLC has taken the first step towards raising substantial capital to support its operations as a strategy towards better future performance. Against this backdrop, I urge companies that have been cautious about using capital markets to raise capital to take this bold step and explore the opportunities available to them by the country's capital markets, with a promise that capital markets are there to facilitate them over the long term. It is therefore reassuring to note that as a key post-COVID recovery strategy to ensure SME entities rebuild themselves in the COVID short-term recovery strategy, the authority has committed to actively engage SMEs so that they can explore capital markets as an alternative financing sources to bridge their financing gap. To us in capital markets, SME industry players, valued partners, are very important, with whom we are keen working with all the way to realize our mutual vision of a vibrant Kenyan SME sector by exploring the range of instruments and financing options available to SMEs. As I conclude, I wish to indicate that for capital markets, the future is looking brighter, supported by our continuing implementation of the 2018-2023 strategic plan. To this end, it is worth noting that we have a number of activities lined up to help improve market performance. These include stakeholder engagements to facilitate issuance of Islamic capital markets products and services. Secondly, engagements to facilitate the launch of securities lending and borrowing and market making. Third, reform of the capital markets regulatory framework to make it simpler and more user-friendly. Fourth, the launch of the unquoted securities platform, again amongst many other OTC platforms that we are considering at the moment. And lastly, active engagement of SMEs to use capital markets as preferred avenue for raising funds. As we provide facilitation, we urge all market players to effectively play their role so that together we can push our capital markets to a higher level. Finally, I wish to wish us all a Merry Christmas and a more prosperous 2021. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is the Capital Markets Authority of Kenya Chief Executive Officer, brother, if you may.
Our brother, Mr. Shamia.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Give it up for him once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're hearing what the captains of industry from the Capital Markets Authority are saying. But what I've heard from the Chief Executive Officer of the CMA is, I had 8 billion, 8.5 billion, I had 2 billion. And you know, when you hear such numbers, you're like, okay, what are we talking about?
Right.
And it's just showing that there have been instances of companies that have actually used the capital markets to actually raise capital. And you know, over and above that, Jeff, I was actually doing the numbers when we were up there. I was calculating the value of HOMEBOYZ. So 26.3 million shares listed at 4.66 shillings per share. Do you want to take a wild guess what the value of that is?
Because I saw you doing the numbers, and I'm sure it's north of 250 million.
Almost.
Are we almost at 300?
Almost. It's 294.5 million. That's the visibility that you're realizing.
A round of applause,
in terms of the value, you know. So we are also doing a teaching and we are also discovering. So when you come into the market, then you begin to get visibility of what is the value, what is the worth of your company. So you're not just sitting there idling and saying, twiddling thumb, because I do interact with SMEs, and there's always that conversation between yourself as a banker and the SME says, I feel I'm 1 billion worth. They're like, your numbers don't add up. And then it's always that back and forth. So instead of going through the back and forth, when you go through the Ibuka program, you go through the accelerator program, you get price discovery. I mean, goodness, 294 million.
And the beauty about what is happening right now, when you talk about the hashtag Tumiliki, is the fact that, yes, they're the seasoned bankers and those on the other side who structure these deals.
No, hold up, Jeff. I don't think you're getting me. Have you ever written 294.5 million somewhere? Because you're just letting my story slide.
I am not. I'm
just like 29451.
How many zeros are those?